So when you think of power banks, you probably think of something like this. It's big, it's huge, it's clumsy, it's heavy, but you know, keeps everything charged more or less. I mean, really depends on the quality of the bank that you buy. So as you can see, it is rather large and doesn't fit in the pocket very easily. Mainly because this is a fake pocket and doesn't actually do anything. So, you know, I want to present to you an alternative power bank, and that is this little fella. Now, my wife gifted me this for my birthday, and today I'm going to review this thing. So sit back, relax, and enjoy. This is DemonView. Hi there, welcome back to the channel, and I do appreciate you tuning in. Now, this is not a sponsored video. This is something that my wife actually got me for my birthday, and that's a T-Core power bank. So that's what we'll be looking at today. So if you do like these videos, by the way, click like and subscribe, as it really does help out with the channel views and helps me buy more accessories for me to test for you to watch. Anyway, today's video is brought to you by this very blurry object in my hand, which I assure you is probably a soda. So let's get cracking. So, on with the review. Now, me being a person who uses a GoPro quite a lot, I tend to have like a lot of power requirements for it. Now, usually if I'm doing a night lapse or something, it's hooked up to a mains power supply, and it's always run through the GoPro original cable that came with the camera, and that seems to do a really good job. However, if I'm mounting that camera somewhere where there isn't a power supply, usually I rely on a power bank or two. But in this case, I was kind of surprised to actually get this power bank because it looks tiny. It actually doesn't look like it could probably do much. But I have to say, it is kind of hefty in weight, so I mean, usually for me, if it weighs a lot, probably a sign of a good, actual solid construction. Now, as you can see, this has a lot of ports on it. It's got two full-size output ports there. It's got a USB-C output input port and a secondary USB-C input port. So I mean, this thing here is actually pretty darn cool. And yeah, I was actually seriously impressed with the amount of ports this had. So considering this thing's actual size, you're probably wondering now, well, how long does it actually last? Well, I decided to put this to the test using the GoPro Hero 11, and hey, the USB-C pass-through door, GoPro's best invention ever. So I basically set this camera to extended battery mode. I put it in 4K 30 frames per second and hit record. Now, I hate doing battery tests. They just last so long and there's nothing you can do to speed them up, but still went and did it anyway, and I was surprised because by the time this thing hit 17%, I had this recording for 6 hours. That's 6 hours and 4K 30 frames per second. I mean, from this, that's insane. But so cool. Now, in case you're wondering why it was in extended battery mode, well, that's because the camera was mounted on a tripod and there was no need for stabilization to be turned on. There was no need for GPS or anything like that because it was on a tripod, so I put it in the settings for using it on a tripod. And, you know, I have to say I was pretty impressed. So if you're like doing a vlog or something, or doing a DJ set, or working away in your garage and you have no power supply near you, that thing's going to record for 6 hours and 4K 30 frames per second. Really impressive. So, how much does it cost? Well, unfortunately, that's where the bad news comes in. This thing costs No, wait a minute. This thing costs $38.99. I mean, that's less than the price of an SD card, and yet you're going to get 6 hours recording time out of it. And that's continuous recording. If I'd put that in time-lapse mode, that thing would probably still be going, and I'd be going nuts myself because I hate doing battery tests. But wow, that is really, really impressive. And the great thing about this is that if you do have a pocket that actually works, it's going to fit in your pocket. It's that small and that handy. So it's not one of those cases where it's going to claim that it gets more power than it does. Nope. This thing gets you the proper 6 hours and 4K on the GoPro Hero 11, which is a pretty power-hungry device. So I am very, very impressed with this power bank. In fact, this is going to actually rank up there as one of my favorite power banks ever. Yeah, when you compare it to the size of this thing, I mean, which do you honestly think you're going to be better off trying to fit in your pocket? This small thing or this huge thing? I mean, it's a tiny little bit thicker, but overall that size is just, it's not even comparable. And look at that. The amount of ports that you get in them. Yeah, this is a winner for sure. So yeah, that's a really quick review of the T-Core power bank. I'll put a link up there in case you want to buy one of these suckers, which, you know, honestly, I have used this thing a good couple of times now, and I hate to sound like one of those as seen on TV ads, but I reckon you will actually get good use out of this thing. In the meantime, if you liked this video and you found it helpful, please click on those like and subscribe buttons down below. It really does help out views the channel, and it helps pay for all this stuff, you know, so I'd really appreciate it, and you'd be a cool person if you did. So if you have any questions, hey, leave them in the comments down below. In the meantime, I'm glad you watched and I hope you enjoyed this video. Cheerio!